Assalamualaikum, good morning Malaysia, welcome to Zaid Ibrahim Podcast. Hari ini kita ada special guest, Datin Azimah Rahim, a well-known educationist, activist in the field of education, served in various capacity as penasihat to the Ministry of Education dulu lah, and also columnist, writer, orang yang pengaruh lah, kata orang influential Malaysian. Jadi kita terima kasihlah Datin datang untuk bincang sedikit mengenai soal pendidikan, about our education system. Saya bacalah about a week ago, or maybe 10 days ago, satu headline in the newspaper, Straits Times, New Straits Times, the worst education system in ASEAN. This is a very strong headline, yeah. And I'm pleased lah ada orang yang sanggup to call a spade lah. Because I think our education system suffers immensely from various weaknesses lah, yeah. Of course, they were at that time talking about PISA punya ranking, you know. But I want to talk a bit more about that, but and other issues lah yang related to it. What I know, kalau bandingkan zaman dulu lah, during my time, we go to English school, English medium, yeah. And then of course after that kita tukar Malay medium, and then we had science and maths in English satu masa, yeah. And then we have another policy introduced to baca apa dia panggil STEM policy for computer, for knowledge, for the new technology lah, you know, yang perlukan bahasa Inggeris. Yeah? And then this policy, the cumulative effect of it, or the non-implementation of those policies, somehow make us very weak in the field of education. Yeah. I noticed that, for example, India, yeah, miskin juga macam kita juga dulu, in fact worse than us, in 1947 India. But they had one thing going for them, and that is they were dedicated, committed to the use of English. Of course, Indian nationalism also very strong. They've got 22 official language, but they stick to science and maths, and they stick to technology and to English as a medium of instruction. They speak. It is almost like an official language in India, in English. Today, India produces best scientists, technologists, computer science. Their Institute of Technology are known worldwide. They are number 4 in space exploration technology. This is a poor country that, because they stick to this policy of using English, and education being the primary obsession with the government, they've succeeded where we fail. So that is the background from what I see, you know. But today I first want to ask you, why is the government, you as a founder and chair of this page, yeah, a parent action group on education, you know, you must be concerned. Parents all over the country are very concerned about the state of affairs. I just want to ask you, why is this fear of English? Where does it come from? Sedangkan kita ni, asal usul kita ni, English. What do you think caused the problem? Is it?
Well, Datuk Zaid, first of all, thanks for inviting me. Such an honor. And let me try to answer your question. It's, of course, everybody knows the importance of bahasa Melayu. You know, and and the pejuang bahasa is always very loud. You know?
Yes, of course.
I think it's some kind of insecurity. I don't really know what it is. But they want that their stand to be heard in every aspect of education, which is fine. Um, for instance, it all started with the time of Tun Razak, actually, after the 1969 riots, where Tun Razak said he wanted a Malaysian identity. So the Minister of Education then, Abdul Rahman Yaakob, decided. He did not consult the cabinet. He actually, after 1969 riots, he actually went on national TV and announced that the whole education system will switch to Malay medium. I think that was a very important decision, and I think that it should have gone to cabinet. And because of that, it sort of set a precedent. So that was the end of English medium schools. And because there were plots of people who didn't care for Malay medium schools, that's when vernacular schools arose, and they continue to rise. Because before we introduced or went into Malay medium schools, the English medium schools were doing very well in the urban areas, and of course there were the Malay schools. But when English medium schools was abolished, rather, vernacular schools began to gain strength.
Yes. Till today.
Until today.
Yeah.
And even now, for instance, Kelantan has been recorded to be the highest number of Malay students going to Chinese schools,
Yes.
which is fantastic, actually. But they seem to see the value of it.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate Kelantan.
Yeah.
So I think that unfortunately it is to the detriment of other languages,
Yeah.
because they are so focused on Bahasa Melayu, and they want to even make it the Bahasa official language of ASEAN, which it has failed. The official language of ASEAN is English. I think even in the Indonesians want to make it Bahasa Indonesia, but even they have failed. Forget about Bahasa Melayu.
Yeah, I thank you. It just reminds me of some people telling me that, see, some of the problem with the Malays here, that they want to be more Islamic than the Arabs, and then they want to be more Melayu than the Indonesians or whatever, or Singaporeans, to the extent that they lose sight of the practical value of language. Jadi sebab tu kita tengok hari-hari baca surat khabar, students not acceptable or not good enough for private sector sebab bahasa Inggeris. Communication skill kurang. First class to graduates pun tak mampu untuk mengulas dengan baik. The reasoning power is weak in some sectors. Semua orang tahu masalah ini, but nobody seems to want to solve it because takut orang kata ini tidak Melayu, tidak membela kepentingan Melayu. But kepentingan Melayu means we have to get jobs for them. We have to make them educated. Isn't it?
Yeah. So what's happened is, if you're monolingual, that is, you're only proficient in Bahasa Melayu, it limits your ability to read knowledge of books in other languages, particularly the English language. And when you limit your reading capacity, you can't keep up with, say, world affairs, scientific papers, just about anything. Because if you Google, I think there's something like 5 million articles that's written in English on a daily basis.
Yes.
There's no way we're going to catch up.
Yeah.
And we can't rely on translations. And it's good that English is our second language, so we don't have to learn it all over again, because it's already in the environment.
You see, this is the unfortunate thing. Kalau if you are kumpulan elite, if you stay in Damansara Heights, you can send your children to international school. You can pay 100,000 a year. or whatever, you can send to private school and all that. Or if you are Chinese, you can send to vernacular sekolah jenis kebangsaan. But if you are 80% of the Melayu, you need a good national school. Because you don't have the money to go to private school. You don't have money to go to international school like all those ministers. So, and yet, kumpulan-kumpulan yang membela orang Melayu ni do not see the problem in our school. Dia macam blinkered, but I come back to India, Datin, because Indian are the most nationalistic of groups. They have about 25 national languages. They have 70 ethnic groups. They're masing-masing every state. But they stick to one thing they know, which is English is good for education and science. And that saved them, Why don't we see that way? Why can't our leaders, and this is where I want to come back to what you said just now. They seolah-olah they know the problem, but they don't want to amend it. They don't want to change it. Then this is where I would like to ask you, how many percent, you said just now, the more Malays in Kelantan and some states pergi sekolah Cina because they see the value of it. And the Chinese, of course, 90% will go to Chinese school because, they have money and they think it's a better optional subject and all that, better teachers. And when this issue was asked recently, when this issue of our education weakness, the rot in the system, when they asked the Prime Minister for his reaction, dia kata there's a denial syndrome in the country. Now, denial syndrome ni artinya kita tahu masalah but we don't want to deal with it. Itu denial syndrome lah. We know the problem but we don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to take a short break. After this, I would like you to talk a bit more specifically on the role of the minister, education, ministry, teachers. Katalah mereka ni the cause of the problem. Is it they or is it something else? Yeah? Terima kasih, Datin. We come back in 5 minutes. Thank you.